Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Monday, October 31st. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Northwestern game is in 5 days, the game against Michigan in 26 days. Today we're going to be taking another look back at Saturday's wild win for the Buckeyes at Penn State. It was a game with some unlikely heroes, some wild momentum swings, and much more. So today you're going to be hearing directly from the Buckeyes and Nittany Lions about that game and what it could mean moving forward. We're going to start with Ryan Day and just how crazy things got towards the end of that game.
I'd say it was crazy, but we expect when we play this game here to be that way. You think about our game in 18 here, the game we played in 17 back at our place. It comes down to the fourth quarter. We knew that was going to be the case. A lot of things in the first half we wish that we had done better. There's no question. But that's playing football, and that's competing. And Penn State's got one heck of a team, played really hard, and it doesn't come easy. But that being said, very proud of the way the team played, and especially in the fourth quarter. I thought C.J. Stroud was unbelievable in the fourth quarter, the way he played. JTT was off the charts, and Marvin Harrison. But it was everybody. Cade Stover, what can you say about that run he had? Clutch. And just the way that we played in that fourth quarter was tremendous. I'm proud of our guys.
The running attack struggled again for Ohio State for most of the day. The Buckeyes were averaging less than 2 yards per carry into the fourth quarter before Travion Henderson ripped off a couple of big touchdown runs to seal the game. So how big of a concern is that today? Well, as you'll hear, he wasn't really ready to talk about that right after the game.
Yeah, I'll wait till tomorrow to figure out that stuff. We're going to celebrate on this ride home and have some laughs together on the plane and enjoy it. And then we'll come back in tomorrow and figure out what we can do better. But I just, the way that we hit that long run there with Trey in the fourth quarter, wore him down, was tremendous. And then to go up the way we did, you could just feel the energy on the sideline. And, some things certainly we want better, but at the end of the day, great to get a win. And at the end of the day, when we go into these games, the expectation is to win. I know that's not everybody's expectation, but that's our expectation. Do we want to play perfect? Yeah. Do we want to win by 4 touchdowns? Yeah. But the expectation coming in here has to be to win, and that's what we did. And when you look at the scoreboard at the end, it says 44-31. But what was the story? And this story has its own unique tale. And we always come out and want to do things better. But to play the way we did in the fourth quarter was tremendous.
One of the biggest storylines of the game, and really the whole weekend in college football, was the play of JT Tuimoloau. The sophomore defensive end intercepted 2 passes, including a pick six, and forced a fumble, and recovered that fumble as well. He came in ranked as the best overall player in his recruiting class back in 2021 by some sources, and Saturday, you could definitely see why.
It's all kind of a blur the way it happened, but to intercept balls like that as a defensive end and get a defensive score, I don't know if I've ever seen that before. That's big time. And JTT has put so much hard work into this. He's an unbelievable player, but he's a better person, and you can see his talent. This is kind of his coming out party today, and he's been working at it. He's been nobody wants it more than he does. So in this stage, for him to play the way he did means a lot to him, and I think his teammates are very proud of him.
In his 4th season as Ohio State's coach, Ryan Day has won a lot of football games already, and you might understand why some of them might start to blend together. But that probably isn't going to be an issue with the game at Penn State on Saturday.
It's huge because nothing comes easy in this environment against Penn State, who does a tremendous job. And there are times where things may become a little bit easy for us, and that's a different experience than this right here. This is totally different. And to respond the way we did and figure out what was going on in that is great. Because really the last time that kind of happened was a little bit in the Notre Dame game. I think it was the same score at halftime maybe, right? Was it 14-13 at halftime? Or was that 10-7? It was a close game at halftime, and then came out and played well in the fourth quarter. So that's the recipe when you're playing matchup games. Every game has its own story, and this is one that we'll be telling for a while. I mean, just the feeling of the emotion that was on the sideline during that fourth quarter, when JT got that pick, when Cade broke those tackles for the touchdown. It reminded me of Ben Vick when he caught that one out here on the play, breaking through, and they believed. We knew it was going to take 4 quarters, and I think that's to your point. Like, we don't always have to play 4 quarters. We knew we were going to have to play 4 quarters today, and just looking at the numbers, I thought it would be 70 and 70. It was 60 plays on offense and 80 plays on defense. So, but that's something that I think we can really learn from moving forward and can grow on.
We're in real danger of losing that game at one point in the fourth quarter, and just like other games Day has lost in Columbus, the path there was kind of the same. The offense struggled to move the ball consistently and to score touchdowns when they did get into the red zone. So what was it that finally clicked in the last 10 minutes or so that allowed them to explode for 28 quick points?
I thought we finally, got into a rhythm finding those seam routes in there. We hit a couple of shots on the outside. I thought the protection really was clean. I felt like we would have done a better job with the perimeter run game with the bubble throws. We got blown up on those a few times, and that really hurts. We struggled on third down early on. We got that solved, which was huge because it kept the drives going. And I felt like we could have done a better job on first down, staying on schedule. They do a good job of taking away a lot of the easy stuff. So it just, again, couldn't quite get her going in there. But we did have that one good drive, and at the end of the day, when you're playing these type of games, I think you have to look at the body of work through four quarters. And I think we're all used to saying, all right, what do we do in the first half? And it's like, okay, but it's four quarters. And so when we're playing a matchup game like this, it's the whole story, and it finally clicked there at the end of the game.
There was a point during the game right after Penn State scored to take a 21-16 lead where it seemed like Ohio State really might lose that game. Momentum was all in the Nittany Lions' favor. They had scored 21 of the last 27 points. The stadium was rocking. I've got a picture of C.J. Stroud standing on the sidelines facing what could be the biggest drive of his career. So what did it mean today to see Stroud go out on the field and lead them just bing, bang, boom, 3 plays, 75 yards, touchdown, take the lead, you never relinquish it again? Just to see everything all come together and his team rise to the moment in what was a very difficult spot.
And that's what means everything to us right there, what you just said, because there's a lot of things that come into play here. Talking about the best quarterback in the country and C.J. Stroud, and JT's coming out partying, Marvin, and the score and what we did in the first half. But what you just said is everything. That's, to me, the difference between winning a championship, reaching our goals, or not. What you just said, and we responded today. And I think that's why it's so satisfying, is that we did that today. Can we clean things up? Yeah, but that's football, and you see it every single week. You see games go back and forth. And again, a lot of respect for Penn State, for James Franklin, for his staff in this environment. This is a hard place to play, and it always is. So for us to do that was, that locker room was on fire afterwards, and they deserve it.
And here is the question we got the most by a wide margin on the postgame show. What the heck was all the deal with all those bubble screens that seemed like they went nowhere pretty much all day, and why did Ohio State keep running them? Here was Ryan Day's answer on that.
Yeah, it's part of the run game, and what it does is it forces everyone to run to the other side of the field if you complete it. It sounds crazy, but it's true. And then you throw it on the other side, they have to run all the way across the field, and then before you know it, you can go that way. So we want them to defend the entire field, and if they put a lot of guys in a box, then we need to spread the ball out to the perimeter. So we always say that we want to be able to attack them inside, attack them outside, and then throw the ball down the field. And probably could have done that more in the game, but I think if we had done a little bit better job on the perimeter in that area, we could have cracked the rock sooner. But yes, I think you have the idea.
Meanwhile, on the other side of Beaver Stadium, Penn State coach James Franklin had a very different view of the game, as you might expect. Over the years, Ohio State fans have seen Franklin a little angry after these games, or just kind of upset. It really wasn't the vibe after the game on Saturday. Franklin just seemed to recognize that his team played really well and just got beaten by a better team.
First of all, you got to give Ohio State credit. Really talented team. I thought we played our tail off. Obviously, first half, we were able to overcome the turnovers and stay in the game and battle, but you can't turn the ball over that many times against that type of opponent and think you're going to be successful. Something we, for the most part, we have done a good job of this year, but we did not today. Thought we played hard. Did some really, really good things. There's a ton of stuff to be proud of, but there's just as much stuff that we got to correct. Tomorrow. There's a lot of corrections, obviously, that we have to make. But to me, the game starts and ends with the turnovers. You can't give that type of team a short field that many times and be successful. It's going to make it really challenging.
The fourth quarter of that game was enough to make your head spin. Penn State went from leading the number 2 team in the nation to trailing by 20 points in the span of about 6 minutes. So How do you reconcile those two things?
Yeah. Again, the game starts and ends, with the turnovers. We knew this type of opponent we were going to have to be able to score points on. They're explosive on the offensive side of the ball. They're explosive on the defensive side of the ball. Played our tail off, but made too many critical mistakes.
The Penn State defense held the Buckeyes to 16 points through more than 50 minutes of play. That is something that very few teams have been able to come even close to doing over the last few years. So how did Franklin assess his defense's play?
Yeah, I thought we played our tails off, especially a bunch of short fields. I think they had the one drive, right after we went down and got the lead again. They had the one long drive that they put together. We went tempo a couple times, but for as many short fields as they had tonight, they played really well. Obviously, the one guy we struggled with is Marvin Harrison. He's obviously a really good player, and they went to him time and time again. But overall, we played really well.
Penn State definitely saw some success on both sides of the ball, and you will probably see some of the same stuff that worked for Penn State from other Ohio State opponents in the coming weeks. Now, one of the things that they really had working was the screen game on offense. So here's what Franklin had to say about why he thought that was a big part of their game plan.
Yeah, when you're playing that type of defense with that type of pass rush, you got to do some things to help your offensive line out, to help your quarterback up, change your pace things. That's going to be something that we're going to have to continue to do all year long. But that was the reason for it. Obviously, with that type of pass rush, you got to keep them with different looks, with different schemes, keep them kind of on their toes and on their heels with those things to be concerned about as well. Yeah, I thought some of the things that we did from a change-up perspective in terms of formations and personnel groups, I think helped us. Gave them some kind of things to think about. They weren't as confident with our formations, what we were going to run out of our formations. So I think it was a nice change-up, and I think allowed us to move the ball. We moved the ball pretty effectively against that team. So I thought we did some nice things. Again, I don't mean to keep saying the same thing over and over again, but besides the turnovers, I thought we did some pretty good things on both sides of the ball.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed those. I know that these generally get some pretty good feedback, and everyone seems to like hearing from the opposing coach because you kind of get a little bit of a different view and a different spin on things. So we'll plan to continue including those in these Monday recap shows. But we will have another one of these Monday recap shows next week, talking about the Northwestern game that is coming up this weekend. Tony, Kevin, and I will be headed to Evanston on Friday. We'll have a bunch of coverage from there, from Illinois, on Friday afternoon and evening. And then, of course, the pregame show on Saturday morning, full coverage of the game on Saturday afternoon, and, of course, the wonderful postgame show, live postgame show with our whole Buckeye Huddle team, giving you instant analysis, instant reaction, live interviews with players and coaches, much, much more. Right as soon as that clock hits zero, we'll have full coverage from Evanston, just as we have for all the games this year. Those shows are starting to get some really, really good feedback. I think people are really enjoying them, so we're going to keep doing them. So you can be a part of them if you want to by going to youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle right at the end of the game. The best way to make sure you don't miss it and you don't forget is to subscribe to our channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to get notified when we go live, and that way you won't miss a moment of the post-game action. We'll have plenty to talk about this weekend, of course, and we are headed into the month of November. Yes, tomorrow is, in fact, November 1st. Rather an important month for college football teams, and rather an important month for us here at BuckeyeHuddle.com as well. Sign up today to become a member, get full coverage of Ohio State football, recruiting, X's and O's, team coverage, all that and more. We're also headed into basketball season. The basketball season tips off on Tuesday against Chaminade with an exhibition game. Tuesday is also the release of the first college football playoff rankings of the season. Yeah, it's going to be a busy week. So it's also going to be a fantastic week to be a member at BuckeyeHuddle.com, so sign up there today. That'll do it for us this morning. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.